Hello, we are here for one more lesson of this T-Flex CAD training course. And the topic for today will be the 2D projections. The idea of this lesson is to create 2D drawings of 3D models, being these models parts or assemblies. To show you a couple of concepts for this topic, I've opened this assembly, this model. You can see that we have already a lot of details, so it has some complexity. And we try to work a little about this 2D projection topic. So a 2D projection is a 2D image located in 2D window or in the 2D environment. And it is obtained by the projection of the three-dimensional model or only a portion. There are a lot of possibilities. We have a lot of specific configurations and details. It is important for all those tiny details to consult our theoretical side. In this video we will see the main ideas for these projections. So starting with a 3D model, we need to go to this menu draw and then this icon 2D projections. We have a couple of options here, and we can go also to this properties window where we can choose from a lot of different possibilities for the projection. So we can do either a projection from one specific view, front, back, top, bottom, left, whatever, okay? As we can do immediately also the three standard views, like in this particular case, three standard projections. And yes, and basically for all the projections we have always a lot of parameters for options, like choosing which geometry, if we want all the geometry, projection elements, what we are doing, what is shown in terms of the lines, in terms of colors, whatever. There is a huge amount of parameters, okay? This is something I think very easy to explore, so we will concentrate on the main topics. So three standard views, simply go and make the projection. So you see, very nice, very clean, and I think quite fast. Then we can go also to, if we want just an axonometric view, simply go and say, do it, and it will do this kind of view also. We can have in these projections also a projection to work plane, which is basically the same. So we need to inform a work plane that in this particular case I don't have created, and it will project for that work plane, but it is basically the same. Then we have some very interesting features like the sections. Okay, I will create again the three standard views. Okay, and I will prepare the drawing for creating a section. And before, I need to come to this icon here called Create Section. I have some configurations regarding what is displayed in terms of text, the size of things, and this information for configure the arrows in the lines, okay? But the important part, it is the placement of this. So I will make a section, okay, simply crossing everything. And now 2D projection, I can go here, create section view or section view, it is the same. So section, I will choose these elements here and just do it. And the section, it is created with the notation AA because it was a AA section that was defined. We can do a little different. If I say instead of a 2-point section, I can create a multiple point section. So I can create something a little more strange. For example, something like this, BB. And again, 2D projection, create section. This time, select section, this one, and the direction, I will put it here. We'll do something like this, okay? A little stranger, but also possible. And you can see that the section is unfolded, okay? Because the distance from here to here, it's different from the length of the part. Then we create also a nice feature, which is a local section. And I will create, for example, a circle. And I will create an edge like this. And then 2D projection, local section view. Let us choose the edge. And it will create something. It was not very visible in this particular case. Let's try again. 2D projection, local section, again choosing the edge. Okay, did not go to the deep that I was thinking about. Let's try in this side. So circle, doing the edge, also creating something. 2D projection, local, finding this guy here. Okay, now it went to the depth I want and created something a little stranger, but it has created the local section. For sure that we have configurations to consider so that we can complement these lines and these borders and so on. I'm not worrying much about this, so that is why some of the lines are not properly done. We can have also still a couple of different things, like an arrow view, which is also interesting. For that I need also to create an element before, so section again, something called arrow view. I need to define an angle, for example 45 degrees, and I will create an arrow view from here, and now I can create a projection in this direction. So to the projection I have something called the arrow view, and arrow view like this, and okay, also quite easy to create. There are still a couple of things like this standard view set where we can define which is the main view, for example top, and then we can define all of these guys if we want, and change the scales and the page size and so on. So let us create this, and that's it. Okay, so very easy, I think, quite fast in the quality of what is produced. It is very interesting. Now, it is important to understand that when we produce this kind of view, this view has the possibility to be changed. And it can be changed in several parameters, okay? We have all of these parameters that are part of the properties window when they create the projection, when the system creates the projection. Okay, there are parameters like this, the update manually and full generation or automatic or whatever. These ignore penetration of bodies or consider the penetration, the levels, the layers, all of this, okay? What I want to show you, because this is for this video, it's the purpose that I want to show. It is these basic parameters on the type of projection that can be created. In any of these, we can have these 5 types: the precise, the vector picture, the rendering, the shading, and the wireframe. Starting with the precise, and we will go through all of them. So precise, it is the view of the projection and represents a collection of the graphic lines that is, in fact, what we want, okay? Then we have something like the vector picture. Okay, it is a dependent, so we cannot do in this particular case. Let us try to do in this one. Let's create a new one. Let's create a new view. It is easier. So, in this particular one, vector picture, and we will do something like corresponds to the type of the precise image. However, in this case, the graphic lines themselves are not created, and the projection is drawn as a picture. So it's a little different. In this mode, the user reduces the 2D generation time, because this is a simplified view of the model. Then we have the rendering, okay, which we can configure also to show outlines and edges and whatever, and we can do it transparency also. Okay, we have this kind of rendering, and as you can see, we can mix this with other types of projections. We have also the shading. The shading, it has some different colors. And finally, we have the wireframe, and we can consider hidden lines and whatever. Let's try to change this. Okay, and we have this kind of projection. This is, I think, quite basic, and the purpose of this 2D is still very important, because even that everybody now talks about 3D being the future, and only 3D it is important. Partially I agree with that, because the 3D, it's more clear, it's less ambiguous and so on. But in terms of producing parts, the 2D for many different types of operations and industries is still needed. And this kind of projection with the configurations you want, it is important, even because after this, as you know, we can and we need to pick points and to insert dimensions out of this. So something, okay, whatever. And this is what is important, to connect the drawings and the CAD model to the physical manufacturing of parts and of assemblies. So, any questions, any details that for sure I've missed in this video, let us know so that we can support you in all your questions.